Welcome to our lecture online. Now let's concentrate on what it has to be like inside a solar system for life to be able to exist on a terrestrial planet. We've already seen from the previous video that being around a G-type star is probably an ideal situation. It lives long enough, has a lifespan of 10 billion years, plenty of time for life to evolve and become to what we have like life on the Earth today, intelligent life. And the star is stable enough so that it doesn't provide or produce too many harmful effects that we need to be protected from. Although it's still not that safe to live near even our star as well. The Earth has all kinds of built-in mechanisms to protect us from being that close to a star. 93 million miles may not seem like a short distance, but all the onslaught of radiation we get from the sun does cause all kinds of problems that we need to be protected from. So what are some of the things that we get from our sun? Well, there's magnetic activity inside the sun, which produces solar flares, coronal mass ejections, a solar wind, and the temperature of the sun is sufficient to produce a fair amount of UV radiation. A significant portion of all the radiation from the sun is in UV form, and UV is deadly to all life on Earth, so we need to be protected from that. In addition to the star that we live nearby, we get additional radiation from all kinds of regions of space from our galaxy, and we have cosmic rays raining down on us all the time, giving us a lot of damage and radiation. We get a lot of radiation damage from those cosmic rays as well, so we have to be protected from them. So, where do we need to live? Well, first of all, we need to be in a zone where the temperature is ideal, anywhere from a little less than 1 astronomical unit to as much as about 1.7 astronomical units, which includes the orbits of Mars and Earth. So Earth and Mars are in the ideal region where life can exist within our solar system. We could potentially go a little farther out, meaning it can be colder, or closer in where it can be warmer. Venus could potentially even be in the habitable zone, but as you can tell, Venus somehow went the wrong direction and life is no longer possible on Venus. So the type of things that we need is we would like to live in a solar system that contains a single star. Having more than one star in a solar system could potentially cause the orbit of the planet to be very erratic, where sometimes you're very close to a star, sometimes very far away. You have very hot temperatures, very cold temperature swings, and so that would not be a good thing. So a single star is the ideal situation. We do want a magnetic field. The magnetic field protects us from the solar wind. The solar wind are particles, electrons, protons that come streaming across space from the sun and slam into all the planets in the solar system. But if you're protected by a magnetic field, it diverts those particles and protects life on the planet. We do also want an ozone layer. That's an O3 molecule that protects us from the UVB radiation of there's a certain band of UV radiation that gets through the atmosphere and is still lethal when it comes down to the Earth. It protects us from that part of the UV band. We do want an atmosphere. An atmosphere has a lot of different reasons for protecting us. First of all, it protects us against the very harmful gamma radiation and X-ray radiation, as well as the high energy UV radiation. So all the radiation coming from space and from the sun that would kill us is stopped by the nitrogen and the oxygen in our atmosphere. So we need an atmosphere to protect us from those deadly rays. We need an atmosphere to keep us warm, because think of it, the moon is about the same distance from the sun as the Earth is, and during the daytime temperatures are well above the boiling point, and at nighttime temperatures drop several hundred degrees below zero. So you can imagine that if we didn't have an atmosphere, the temperature swings on the Earth would be astronomical and probably wouldn't be able to live here. You do need an atmosphere that provides oxygen. Oxygen is a very important molecule for many life forms on the Earth. And the pressure required for liquid water. On Mars, the pressure is so low that liquid water can no longer exist on the surface, and all the water that used to be there has evaporated or disappeared underneath in the surface of the Mars or in ice format, but there's virtually no liquid water to be found on the surface of Mars because there's not enough atmospheric pressure. Liquid water is an extremely important substance that is probably absolutely necessary for life. We can imagine other forms of solvent besides water, but water by far is the most ideal solvent of all solvents, so imagining life without liquid water is pretty difficult to do. Oceans. Imagine that our oceans were only 1/10 the size they are today. And most of the the surface area of the Earth was simply land mass like it is on Mars, what would it be like? Well, the temperature swings would be astronomical. It would be brutally hot in the summer, icy cold in the winter, and it would be a very difficult place to live. Oceans, especially if very large oceans, are very big temperature regulators because water has such a high heat capacity. So definitely necessary for a moderate climate. Terrestrial planet, again, we talked about that before. If you don't have a surface to walk on, it's not likely that you'll have life on those planets. Gas planets are not a very ideal situation for life. Carbon-based material, again, a planet that contains carbon-based material. The Earth has many carbon-based materials within the Earth, and so therefore life is likely to exist here because of all the ideal conditions and the presence of carbon. Radioactive elements, again, that leads to the fact that we want a planet that contains all the heavy elements besides the material that forms rock, silicon dioxide, and all the metals in the core. We do want heavy materials, radioactive materials, to keep the inside of the Earth warm. It's the primary reason why the inside of the Earth is very hot. If it wasn't hot, then the inside of the Earth would simply cool down. You would not have any tectonic plate movement. You would no longer have a magnetic field because there would not be any motion inside the planet, or the magnetic field would be very weak, and then we would not be protected from the solar wind. So you do want the kind of materials, radioactive elements, that keep the tectonic plate movement, that keep the inside of the Earth warm, that provide volcanism, that provide gases and minerals. We have erosion due to that, and the heat from the dynamo effect. The heat causes the dynamo effect, which then produces the magnetic field. A couple more things. You want sufficient gravity. A small planet like Mars is not likely to hold on to its atmosphere, which it didn't, and therefore life is probably no longer possible. You want a big enough planet to have enough gravity to hold on to the atmosphere. And finally, you probably want a planet that contains enough water to have water in the atmosphere, water vapor in the atmosphere. Again, without water vapor, it would be so cold on the Earth that the entire Earth would probably turn into a big ball of ice. Because the greenhouse effect of the water vapor in the atmosphere, we have a nice, comfortable climate that is induced to life. Is that the right word? That induces the possibility of life, let's put it that way. So, if you ever wonder what kind of planet do we want and what kind of conditions do we need for life to exist, we need to be in the right Goldilocks zone, as we call it, the place in orbit around the sun where it's not too cold and not too hot, and you want all the various conditions in a planet and conditions in the solar system that make it very inducive for life to be able to exist. And that is how we do it.
So that iconic scene from Star Wars at the end where they have two suns is not a good thing.
The iconic scene from Star Wars where we have two suns, not a good thing, unless they're very close together. So there are certain situations in binary star systems where you could still have a planet with a reasonably stable orbit. As a matter of fact, on the next video, we'll show you how that's done.
If you have a binary system, would the sun rotate around each other?
Will the sun rotate around each other in a binary star system? That depends upon how far they're apart from one another. Typically, you would see a rotation, but how that rotation or how one star revolving around the other would affect the orbit of the planet depends upon how close the planet is and how close the two stars are to each other. So depends upon what the situation is, you could potentially have a reasonably stable orbit of the planet.
So is it possible to have two planets in the same orbit?
Could you have two planets in the same orbit? Well, when you think about Bode's law, we do seem to see a certain predictive pattern to the distances between planets. And so the assumption is that if you had material that would devolve into a planet, that would slowly accrete into a planet, and those two planets that are evolving from all that accreted material are very close together in the same orbit, you would think that they would eventually merge into a single planet.
So we're not going to have a sister planet on the other side of the sun exactly that we can know of?
The sister planet on the other side of the sun. I've heard that one before. There is another planet just like the Earth on the other side of the sun and in perfect orbit, so we never get to see it. It's not there. Of course, You could have fooled people with that a long time ago, but now with the advent of satellites going up into space, being able to look in all different corners of the solar system, not a planet. Of course, there's another planet that we haven't found yet, the planet Vulcan. The Vulcan is so close to the sun that it's really, really hot, but we can't see it because it's too close to the sun.
So if Venus happened to be in the habitable zone, could it have life?
Could Venus, since Venus can be considered in the widened, so if you think of the potential widening of the ideal habitable zone, so
it happened to be in our.
Oh yes, so if Venus actually was further away from the sun, and if Venus was actually here instead of there, then by all means we probably would see a planet with oceans and with clouds and rain and all the same conditions we see on the Earth. Very likely, yes. That would be a sight to see. Too bad we don't have one of those planets besides the Earth.